What's up, everyone? It's time for our digital huddle. Today is going to be a cool week at GC. Matter of fact, this is National Back to Church Sunday. Now, we've already had Back to School Sunday and all those things that we did at GC ourselves, but National Back to Church Sunday is just a day where we celebrate that it is important and valuable to be in God's house with God's people. And so a lot of different churches around the country are celebrating Back to Church Sunday this Sunday. So bring someone with you. It'll be a great Sunday at GC. And then this is a very cool week coming up that we have as well, because this Friday, the 26th, is Man Night. Now, Man Night is going to be a lot of fun. It's for guys of all ages. So bring your sons and your brothers and your neighbors and everybody with you. And register as many as you can. I mean, I understand that we can't register everyone that we invite maybe at the last second, but register as many as you can so we have an idea of what to plan for, and then whoever shows up is awesome. We're just excited that they're there. And so we'll have food trucks, we'll have the car show, have cornhole and basketball, all these different things, the mechanical bull, all this stuff going on. And then at 7 o'clock, 5:30 to 7 is the pre-party with all those things. 7 o'clock is when we have the actual service with Troy Maxwell, Pastor Troy, from Freedom House Church. He's a friend of the house, and so he'll be there as well. Just going to be a great Sunday, a great Friday night with all the guys. I'm expecting a lot of guys to show up. It's going to be a good time all together worshiping God. And then just a couple days later, that Sunday, the 28th, Pastor Troy will be speaking on that Sunday as well for our church. And then at 2 o'clock that day on the 28th, we're doing beach baptism. So we'll be out at Carlin Park doing beach baptism. And so so many people signing up for that. And if you want to be baptized at the beach, I would encourage you to sign up on our events page. And if you don't sign up, we'll still baptize you. If you want to be baptized that day, you can still show up then and do it. But it helps us, again, with planning to kind of know what we're working with, and when we have some of the people RSVP'd. And so anyway, so many great things happening. But let's talk about our book that we've been in, okay? We are in chapter 15 of the book, Unreasonable Hospitality, talking about how to go above and beyond in our hospitality, just having really the viewpoint of excellence, just going to this other place where we see people, we value people, and they feel those things. And so in chapter 15, it's called The Best Offense is Offense. And I love this. I'm actually going to take maybe this thought process and tie it into my communion moment tomorrow as well, because there's a few things I want to push on in communion, speaking about offense instead of just being defensive. But this is what he talks about. Will, in this chapter, he's talking about how excellence doesn't happen by accident. We've talked about that before. Excellence is intentional. You don't accidentally succeed at things. You do it intentionally. So it doesn't happen by accident. It happens when we lead proactively and not reactively, right? Great leaders are proactive, not reactive. And so oftentimes leaders live in defensive mode, responding to problems and putting out fires and managing crisis and always chasing everything. You ever feel that way? You're always chasing the problems, but great leaders flip the script on that, and they anticipate, they prepare, and they take initiative. They can actually be ahead of it. And so I got three things. If you're going to be a leader who is proactive and not reactive and always on offense and pushing toward the goals, here's three things to remember. Will talks about this in the book. He says anticipation beats reaction. That's the first thing. Anticipation beats reaction. He says that the best leaders don't just respond to needs, they see them coming. I think about my kids, right? If they're like climbing on a giant wall and walking across it, I'm like, hey, you probably shouldn't do that, because if you fall, you're probably going to crack your head, and then we're going to have to be at the hospital, And that's going to be a bummer in our day. So I'm being proactive, whereas if I was reactive, I'd just be like, whatever happens, happens. And then I'm all frustrated and flustered when we're at the hospital later that day getting stitches, right? I need to be a proactive leader. I need to see problems coming before they actually get there and be proactive, not just reactive. There's also some ways that we can help leadership be proactive. There's different systems we can put in place to actually help proactiveness happen rather than just reactiveness. And at GC, one of those things that is a program that we use is CCB. You guys all know about CCB, but that's to help us be proactive. Things like we request that you're going to serve on certain days in certain services. And so as we send those requests out to serve, we ask that you accept or decline. And I'm going to ask right here, I hope that you all accept or decline. Don't just leave it unread, because what happens is if you leave it unread, now that's forcing the volunteer coaches to sit there and look at their teams and go, well, 10 people are not responding yet to this, and so I don't know if they're going to show up or if they're not going to show up. We don't know how to plan, and so they have to now be proactive and try to plan without those people. But then sometimes when people show up, I'm like, well, you knew I'd show up. We didn't know that you're going to show up, right? We have to be able to proactively plan rather than reactively adjust. And so we don't want to not have 10 people on the team because they didn't respond. And so we had to go through and either call every single person and be like, hey, is it a yes or is it a no? And do all these things. But it takes so much extra time from the volunteer coaches. And so being someone who goes through and uses the systems that are in place also helps people like the coaches be proactive rather than reactive, which makes the entire system work better, right? And so we have to be proactive. Anticipation beats reaction. Here's the second thing I want you to remember is that offense oftentimes writes the story. Offense writes the story. Will points out that offense means taking control of the story, not letting the circumstances write it for you. Right? You're going to take control of the story, not let your circumstances dictate it for you. I was talking to a staff member the other day, and I said it this way: as a staff member, your job is to build the train track and build the track and dictate where it goes and create where it's supposed to be to reach the vision that we're aiming for. And then the people on the dream team, we're to bring them into the train and let them drive that thing as fast as they want to drive it. They can drive it fast, they can drive it slow, but we're going to let the people dictate the pace. But they're going to drive that thing, but now they're driving it on the track that we have created. You know, offense oftentimes writes the story. We have to get up ahead of it. If we're going to be good leaders, we have to get up ahead and we have to write the story and not let the story be written for us. You know what I mean? So make sure we're always up ahead, anticipating, and then writing the story. Here's the third thing I want you to remember is that offense creates momentum. Offense creates momentum. I love momentum. Momentum is fun, but offense creates momentum. Defensive leaders manage many times they'll manage the decline whenever things are going downward. That's when they're like, oh, we got to hop in and do something, right? Offensive leaders are creating growth and energy. That's the difference. Offensive leaders are always looking at how to grow, always looking at how to expand, always looking at how to move forward. Defensive leaders hop in and decide, I need to do something different when it's going the wrong direction, right? But it needs to be moving and going. And it's fun to do those things. It's fun to be innovative and change things and move things and adjust things and grow. It's just fun. And so when you go on the offense, your team feels it. It creates clarity for them. It creates confidence for them. It creates momentum for them. And one of the things that Will says is that he reminds us of this is that the best way to stay out of constant crisis is to stay 2 steps ahead. If you stay just a few steps ahead, you're never going to have to sit there and just manage a crisis. And so if we could look ahead at where we're going, have a clear vision, and push to be there before everyone else is with us, if we're on the offense going and leading, then what will happen is we'll create this momentum and we'll have a good time doing it as well. And we'll write this story that we get to tell, because leaders, the best offense is offense. I hope that helped you today. I hope you're having a great Saturday, and I hope we just get to have a wonderful time at God's house tomorrow. I can't wait to see you all. So, see you at church tomorrow.